Hi! Today I'm actually starting a little challenge for myself. I recently watched all of the Hunger Games movies as the first two are coming off of Netflix, so I had to quickly watch them all, and it reminded me how absolutely amazing and insanely good the Hunger Games is. I wouldn't say it's underrated because it's fairly popular, but if you haven't seen it recently, I feel like you should watch it because it slays every single time. So I actually missed out on the part of my childhood where I feel like everybody was reading the Hunger Games, and it was kind of like a rite of passage that I never had because I was not into reading and I did not want to read them. But now that reading is half of my personality, I think that it is time to attempt to read all of the Hunger Games books, including the brand new book, The Ballad of the Songbirds and Snakes. It's going to be interesting to make a movie book comparison because I have just watched the movies and I just started the audiobook, and there's already so many things that I'm learning, such as Katniss trying to drown Buttercup. And I kind of wish I didn't know that information. I have a good lineup for when they come in from the library because I'm gonna listen to them on audiobooks. Anyways, I'm just starting the first book now and we'll see how that goes. Hey, so today is the next day and I have been absolutely binging The Hunger Games, the first book. I have officially reached 50%, so she's nearing the end of the Hunger Games. You know, I don't know how vaguely to speak about the Hunger Games because I feel like if you haven't seen or read it yet, I feel like you're kind of losing your chance to be spoilers. So I don't know, but basically it's still entertaining despite the fact that I was thinking this morning, I was like, I have barely learned any different or new information about this series. I feel like the movies stayed so close to the books. It stands out a little bit when things have been changed, but for the most part I'm really not learning anything new. And I was just thinking, I feel like that speaks to how good it is because I'm still just as entertained, thoroughly captured by the story and everything, even though I know everything that's about to happen and I just watched the films. So there's that. But I'm hopefully gonna finish today. I think it's only 5 hours left on the audiobook. In 2 times speed, that'll be 2.5 hours. So I'll probably crank that out now, and I got my AirPods in and I'm going to be listening to it while I'm doing some mindless stuff on my computer. Guess who got our nails done? I mean, that sentence is not sentencing. Got our nails done. Zoom in. You gotta really get in here. Hi, so it is the next day and I have finished the Hunger Games book 1. The ending of this book was way more dramatic than the ending of the movie, with so many more details that made me have more emotion involved, and it just seemed like a much bigger deal, the ending. It was so much more drawn out, and I'm just gonna give details of what that ending kind of looks like, so spoiler alert for that if that's something that you're trying to avoid for some reason. The game makers decided to use the previous tributes to create this kind of dog-like creatures that come after the 3 of them in the game when it's just them left. The last character to die in the Hunger Games, I forget his name, but his death lasts hours, and eventually Katniss has to decide if she should use the arrow as Peeta's tourniquet to kill him as like a mercy or like not risk it and like keep that with PETA. Eventually like the Capitol just like doesn't have an announcement for quite a while, and they like won't take them out of the games. I assume it's because it's supposed to be having these long discussions like in the Capitol about like what to do in this situation. PETA tries to like bleed out like so that Katniss like has to win and all this stuff. But the biggest plot twist of all is in the books, like PETA has to get his leg amputated. Katniss learns that on air for the first time because they wouldn't let them reunite until everyone could be watching. But that is not happening in the movie. PETA never lost his leg. We never like hear about it again. But in the books, it's a way bigger deal. They're both like really injured, and Katniss, I don't know if she ever recovers the hearing in one of her ears, but I know throughout the whole games, like after that explosion, she just couldn't hear anymore out of one ear. But like we never talk about those things, so that was interesting. They obviously made changes for a reason, but it would have been cool to see all these extra details. Okay, apparently I'm running out of storage, which is a really fun problem to have. But just would have been cool to see these details, but it's good just knowing them now. It just adds more complexity to the story. And today I'm starting Catching Fire, so we're going to be doing that today. Also, I wasn't sure if I wanted to leave my like star ratings for the end of the video, but I do want to say that I love the story so much. I did give it a 4-star because the writing was Katniss was the most unlikable character I've ever read, and while she wasn't the most likable, and that's probably not the point in the movies, she is just, it was really hard to honestly root for her. Some of her like inner monologue was just like very, I didn't understand, like she just, anyways, I have thoughts on her, but just as a character, I don't know, I think the writing made it worse. The writing was like very YA, which like it is YA, so like I can't really knock it for that, but it was hard for me personally to read, I found. I am 20% with 10 hours left to go. Hi baby, hi. Lucky has been loving the experience so far, for sure. Good boy. I'm going to be heading off to campus and listening to it. The series is just like so addicting that like I have to. I got to be listening no matter what I'm doing. So I think that that is a good sign. And I feel like I'm low-key gonna finish it tomorrow. Yeah. We'll see though. We'll update. So when the game maker shows Katniss his like watch with a Mockingjay on it during their little like Capitol party, I actually don't know what they're celebrating, but for some reason Katniss and PETA are there because why not? They're celebrities now. That was the worst attempt at being subtle and foreshadowing I've ever seen. Hey, it's the next day and I've been doing really well with my reading, and I'm 35% through the second book of the Hunger Games, but I am trying to finish it today. I have like 7.5 hours left, which I think is doable on 2 times speed, which to me feels like 1 time speed. But I'm surprised we're this far and there's not even like a hint of them having to do the Hunger Games again. It's going to be much shorter, like a much shorter game than it was in the last book. But also, I so badly wish that there is a universe and a book produced in which Katniss and Haymitch go into the Hunger Games instead. Just because I need to know what that would look like. But anyways, yeah, I'll update you if I do finish today, but we'll see. At 67%, we are finally about to start the Hunger Games, which is wild to me. Here we go. Hey, so obviously I finished Catching Fire, the second book in the Hunger Games, and immediately started the 3rd book, Mockingjay. And let me just, okay, my review of Catching Fire. It's my favorite in the series. This book was the most different from the film because in the film, I think half the movie was the Hunger Games, and that was not the case in this book. We got to see them training. We got to learn. My favorite part was learning about Haymitch's games when Haymitch won and how he won. And his quarter quell was double the tributes. So it was 48 tributes instead of 24. And so he managed to win out of all those people. We got to learn Haymitch's alliance, how he killed the last person. And like, it was really cool because like the arenas have like really changed a lot. I don't know. I love being like super into like a world, and it's crazy because I don't think I've ever been into like a dystopian world before. Like, I love my fantasy worlds, but this is a little different. Yeah, obsessed beyond with some of the characters. I love Finnick. He's just the best ever. And some of the other people who are going back into the arena. Again, it's cool to hear how they won their games and stuff like that. I gave this one 5 stars and I gave the first book 4 stars. I feel like the third book is going to be a 4-star again, just because there's no Hunger Games. It's very political. I didn't love the films, but I think that's because they were so drawn out. Like, there was no reason it needed to be a part 1 and 2. There was not one reason. It could have been one part. And they left out super interesting details, like how in District 13, every morning you get your schedule tattooed to your arm, and like the biggest crime is like deviating from your schedule, which is wild. But yeah, obsessed with PETA. I'm like not understanding Gale at all, because like he could have anyone else. Katniss is not like that awesome. I don't know. Anyways, my bus is here, so I gotta go. But starting Mockingjay. Why is Mockingjay like not good? It's not popping off. I'm not a fan. It's kind of boring. I don't know if it's because it's so fresh in my mind, like the story, and there's just like really not a lot extra going on, but I don't know, it's like not doing it for me. It's just like they're just underground, like living. I don't know. I'm only like 35%, but I'm just not like excited to be picking it up. Hello, I just finished Mockingjay. Didn't really like it, thought it was kind of mid. There wasn't any real interesting extra pieces of information in the book. Gave it 3 stars. Kind of struggling to get through it at that point, and I was losing interest in Steam. I gave the second book 5 stars and the first book 4 stars just because of the writing in the first book. And I don't know if I just got used to the writing or she did improve her writing, which I'm sure she did no matter what, because you get better with every book you write. I thought the second book was really good and very different from the movies. And so far, I've loved reading it. So the next step in my plan was obviously to read the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is a prequel to the Hunger Games Trilogy that just came out, and it's Snow's villain origin story. And I was super excited to read this book because the whole point that I was reading the Hunger Games books for the first time was to read this book. Now, another trend in this video is watching the movies before reading the book, and I have in fact already seen the movie for this. I did in fact hate it. So because this book is not a short, cute little story, and it is like a fully fleshed out narrative of Snow's point where he really chose that he was going to go down this road of being powerful over being good, I guess. I felt like I saw what I needed to see in the movie, and it is not worth my time to read this book. I am sorry if you feel differently, but the movie made me really not want to read this, and there is no way I am going to end this Hunger Games video on an awful note because I don't want to go into a slump from reading this. This is my brother's copy. Sorry, Jack, you weren't home, so I did just steal this. But my mom and my brother read it. They didn't like it either. They thought it was just like mid. The movie also no one really liked, and I do feel like that was a little disappointing. I don't know, it just, let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't know that I am. So I'm actually going to end this video here, unfortunately. Who knows, maybe one day I will pick this up again when I'm like less consumed with Hunger Games, but I have really enjoyed being in the Hunger Games world so heavily these past couple of weeks, and I really loved my experience reading the trilogy, watching the movies, being in that world. that's gonna be all for me today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and hopefully I will see you in another vlog very soon. Bye!